Texas State Fair is short $2 million this year.
Did the Texas State Fair just become too expensive for Texans because nobody is showing up, and here's why.
On opening weekend, they had record low attendance.
Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because we're all flat broke and terrified of getting snatched up by Trump's Gestapo mid-corn dog bite.
So apparently, if you haven't heard yet, the Texas State Fair isn't doing too hot. Allegedly, they're considering asking the city of Dallas for a $2 million bailout because of how poorly the fair has done. And this is all while charging families just like $200 just to walk through the gates. So the Texas State Fair is typically known as one of the biggest and best state fairs in the United States. Well, currently, the fair is empty. So what is going on in Texas? But first, we're going to time travel back to the 90s. I think you'll be shocked by the prices that you hear.
Oh, you're going to have to get out the cash even before you get out of the car. How much to park?
$19.
I hope he's kidding. Actually, it only costs $3. Now, once you get yourself parked, it's going to cost you another $7 to get into the fair for an adult ticket and another $4 for a child's ticket. Once you pay to get in here, you really don't have to spend another cent, unless you want to. I mean, heck, you could stand around and look at big text all day, and plus there are a lot of other really neat free things to do out here. But like most people, I want to eat, and I want to ride some rides, so I'll take $10 worth of coupons.
Hang on tight, 'cause here we go.
After all that, I need some nourishment. Can I have a corn dog?
That'd be 7 coupons.
7 coupons, and she ain't gonna give it to me till I pay either. It's okay. There you go. Hey.
One down, that's all it took.
Shut, take your choice, one in wins.
How much money does it take to come out here and have a good time at the fair?
Probably about $100.
Well, as for me, I feel like I got off lucky. I walked in here with $20. Let's see now. I got $1 left. Sherry Woodard, Texas, News 5.
Okay, so that was a broadcast from September 26th, 1990. She is asking people how much they spent. One lady said $100 is good for the fair. I assume she's meaning like for the family, not just one person. So let's just talk about inflation. And this is really funny to me, but also it's really depressing. So let's just talk about how 1990 prices translate into 2025 prices. So he said parking in 1990 was $3. He joked around a little bit, said it was $19. Well, adjusted for inflation, $3 would be about $7.50 in today's dollars. And our actual cost isn't even the joke, right, of the parking. It's $1 higher. It's $20 to get into the state fair. And that's just parking. Sorry, that's not even getting through the gate. Now, to actually get a ticket, and for an adult in 1990, it cost $7, all right? So that would be the equivalent of $17.35 today. Okay, so I think the actual cost in 2025 is pretty close to the inflated cost, which makes me feel a little bit better, but it seems like it's $19 to get in, just to get in, right, the actual gates. That's if you pick a specific day. Okay, that's if you pick a specific day to go to the Texas State Fair, or you can pick the flex ticket, the one-day advance flex ticket, which is $29. And that's also if you buy it online. You get discounted if you buy it online. And like what kills me is the parking attendant said, ha ha ha, it's $19 for parking. Little did he know that it would be actually $20. Okay, maybe I'm just like beating up the Texas State Fair a bit. Let's see what's actually happening and what people are actually spending in 2025. All right, so now looking at this video here, it is $20 for parking, $20 for the admission ticket, as we were talking in that previous video, $25 for food. You'll see why I'm kind of suspicious about that number a little bit later in the video. $25 for a souvenir cup and soda, $30 for waist beads, $22 for ride tickets, probably a ride or two, to be honest, and then $4 for a soda refill. For any non-Americans that are watching this video, refills are typically free. And then $39 for a caricature drawing, $10 for a photo booth. So that all tolls up to, as she said, $170. And that was just her, mind you. That was just her only getting her stuff, paying for her parking, her admission. It's brutal. It's very brutal out here.
Did the Texas State Fair just become too expensive for Texans because nobody is showing up, and here's why. Now, historically, the Texas State Fair is super popular, and everybody loves to go to a state fair, get all the deep fried goodies, and plus the rides and the entertainment. The vendors come from all over, but now there's footage of literally empty midways, vendor stalls. There's nobody there. A lot of the locals are saying that the prices are very expensive, even for parking, and the parking itself is a nightmare. Plus, the prices are sky high. I saw a comment that one turkey leg is $24. Their commenters were saying that a corn dog is $15. One corn dog. like a family of 4 goes, and what used to be $200 day at the fair is now like $400. A lot of people just don't want to go because they don't support ice and they feel like there's going to be ice everywhere. The vendors are saying that their sales are more than 50% down. Plus, not only are their sales down, their costs were higher. So I don't know, is the Texas State Fair just losing its magic, or are they pricing people out of even coming?
So I'm going to cut her off there. And so I don't know if this creator has been to the Texas State Fair, but she's talking about $24 turkey legs. Just for reference, so for the Minnesota State Fair, the turkey leg was $19, and this one is $5 more. I'm going to be honest, I think you can get a better deal for a turkey leg at Walmart, or just skip the turkey leg. The other one was corn dogs. So she was saying $15 for a corn dog. Now, I don't know if it was one of those like longer corn dogs. Hopefully it's like the foot long corn dog, or, however long. I'm not very good with measurements. Again, at the Minnesota State Fair, that would cost you about half the price, like $7 to $8, if it's the standard size. Now, if it's like the bigger size, probably 12, 15, so that's about right. But if they're charging for a standard size corn dog $15, they're out of their freaking minds. So let's jump into these comments real quick. Nope, it was cheaper to fly to Germany and to go to Oktoberfest, which is crazy to think about. No, again, so you're taking an international flight and it's going to be cheaper than going to the Texas State Fair. So, okay, she was talking about $24 turkey legs, $15 corn dogs. There has to be affordable ways to go to the fair, right?
This is your sign to go to the Texas State Fair on a Monday night. We came here on a weekday after 5 p.m. and entry was only $14, and there were no lines anywhere. We also parked at gate 9 and then entered through the Penn gate, and from there we walked through MLK to hit all the best food spots before ending the night at Midway. First stop, Trio. This year's Big Tex Award winner for the lobster hot dog. Cool concept, but honestly, a 6 out of 10 for me for $15. Magnolia Beer Garden for the Dubai chocolate funnel cake. Soft, rich, and crispy at the same time. I devoured this, 10 out of 10. Then we went to the Vegan Vibration for the vegan crunch wrap. Super crunchy, but I will say it's kind of salty, but I'll give it a solid 6 out of 10. We also stopped by the Shein booth on the hunt to get cowboy hats, and they're actually giving one away for every $29 purchase. Then we made our way to the Grove on Nimitz for the Cookie Chaps milkshake. Not too sweet, creamy, and just perfect. 12 out of 10, recommend. I ate this in like 5 minutes. My yearly ritual is also tornado taters. The crispiest fries in the whole fair, no questions asked. I forgot how much it was, but if you find the stand, get it. We caught the 7 p.m. parade for a little break before round 2 of eating. Back to the food court, we grabbed the iconic pickle pizza, 1,000 out of 10. I literally wait every year just for the slice of pizza at the state fair. We wanted to try the honey jalapeno lemonade, but too sweet, jalapeno 5 out of 10. Sano Ichi, new matcha cream float though, that was fire. It tastes like matcha mixed with horchata, 9 out of 10. Next, the Japanese sweet potato sundae. This was surprisingly the best thing I got there. It was sweet, salty, crispy, 10 out of 10. Just try it. And of course, we also had to end the night at Dickles for their turkey leg, 10 out of 10. Been there every year. That was our Monday night at the Texas State Fair. No lines, cheaper tickets, and food that actually slapped.
I don't think really even... I'm so confused. So it said going like on a weekday after 5, and then the tickets when you get in are $14. And then she said her parking was $27. I feel like she paid $1 more. Am I doing the math wrong on this? Because the ticket itself is supposed to be $20 and then the parking is $20. So, I mean, I don't think there was any savings. Maybe you feel better paying less on the gate ticket. But, she tried, and she got a free hat with, gift with purchase. Looking at the prices of that food. So the other lady said $24 for a turkey leg. She paid $25 for a turkey leg. And then my favorite fair food that she got is pickle pizza. Like, that is my ultimate. Never used to be a big pickle fan. And then I had pickle pizza, and it just rearranged my entire taste buds. If you have a fair that has pickle pizza, just get it. That being said, I think it said the price was $14. Honey. No, not $14. But for $14, please. Let's dive into the comments here. This is my sign to avoid this year. None of that is worth the price. And she tried to give a pro tip as well. Anyway, so we're going to get into this next person who attempted to see how much free stuff that he could get.
How much free stuff can I get at the State Fair of Texas? You can spend $16 a person just to take one ride on the Ferris wheel. So instead, I started with a free ride off-road in a Ram truck. I survived because I did have to sign my life away to ride. Then I stumbled into a cow milking demonstration where at the end I got to try a free half pint of the final product in chocolate milk form, as well as in 2 scoops of complimentary Bluebell ice cream. And afterwards, State Farm was giving away free personalized bobbleheads. Wow, the resemblance is uncanny. Then I must have still had suds in my eyes because I crashed this free simulator drive and ended up in Big Texas Dia de los Muertos celebration, which was naturally sponsored by Whataburger. And finally, I scored a free chef-made bacon biscuit and a bottle of hot sauce to enjoy before the fireworks.
Honestly, not so bad. I was thinking like, those really crappy, cruddy, poorly made like water bottles, or just like corporate gifts that you get when you're being onboarded for the first time at a corporation or something like that. Like some just something cheaply made. But this is kind of nice. He got a ride in a truck, which, I mean, if you're in Texas, that's not very novel, right? Doesn't everyone own a truck in Texas? But the free ice cream, the half a pint of chocolate milk, a hot sauce, that's pretty good. You can take some of that stuff home. Even the comments are agreeing. That's pretty good for free, not gonna lie. No way State Fair gives you free stuff like that. How much did the fair pay you? The fair did not pay me. These next videos might shock you or might not, depending if you've been paying attention to this video. So this video here is showing on a Sunday around 2 p.m., weekends are usually packed at the fair. As you can see on your screen here, it doesn't look like very many people attempted to venture out and go to the fair, pay $40 entry fee just to get in, essentially. This lady is a Texan, it looks like, and she went to this fair on a Sunday and did not have to wait for a darn thing. Like, there are empty food stands. There's a handful of people at the line. Now let's go on to the next one. All right, so this TikTok here says, State Fair of Texas, where is everyone? October 2nd, between 1:30 and 5 p.m. So it looks like no one's here. Like, the lines are empty, the stalls are empty. I'm sure that Ferris wheel in the background, no one's at. Like, at the Minnesota State Fair, this would be packed with people trying to play games or ride rides. Let's go see from the Ferris wheel perspective now. I mean, just look at this. It looks beautiful and majestic at night, but again, this Ferris wheel costs $16. Sure, it's at night, maybe like in summertime. Well, actually, no, this was taken in October, and it gets darker pretty early, right? So this is probably around 6 or 7 o'clock at night. There is no one. There is no one waiting in line. So if you have money, this must have been really nice to have no wait at all. All right, for this next clip, they literally put crickets over it because, as you can see, no one's here. No one's at, this is like the ground level view of where that Ferris wheel was. Not a soul. Maybe 2 souls. But very few people are there. So someone even said, wow, I feel bad for the vendors. And honestly, you kind of should. So according to the Texas State Fair themselves, the vendors have to pay upfront $5,000 just to have a booth at this fair. And then you want to guess how much profit, how much of a cut of their profit that they take from the vendors? Just take a wild guess in the comments. Do you think it's 10%, 20, 30? We'll try half of their sales go to the fair. So they're already $5,000 in the hole. Your sales are also down 50% if you're looking at what the other TikToks are saying. And then cut that again in half. So you're like taking a quarter of what you normally get working at the fair. I actually feel really bad. But maybe if the vendors didn't keep increasing their costs, then maybe they would have more customers and there would be more people and more people purchasing things, and then their sales wouldn't be down. We kind of touched on some of the theories, but let's go a little bit deeper into why we think this is happening.
Become too expensive for Texans because nobody is showing up, and here's
Can we, for the love of all that is holy, stop saying that people didn't show up this year because of prices? Can we do that? Why, might you ask? Would I say let's stop saying that? Because prices didn't really go up that much at all. In fact, the parking went up by only $4 from last year. The fucking corn dogs that are ridiculously expensive, they didn't go up. The funnel cakes, they didn't go up. The only thing that went up was the turkey leg went up by $2. The coupons for the rides and stuff are the same fucking price that they've been since 2021, which is $1 a coupon. People that were going to go to the state fair were going to go no matter how fucking expensive you made it. The people that don't go, and they wouldn't have gone anyway. Like myself, even if I have money to go there and go to this Texas State Fair, I'm not going to spend that much money because it's fucking ridiculous. But people like me never went. We never go because it's stupid expensive, and it's always been that way. So when you see there are no lines for the fucking rides at the Texas State Fair, there are barely any crowds there, there's hardly any fucking people compared to last year or the year before that. When you see that, it's not because of the pricing. We all know why people aren't showing up to these large events where a bunch of people gather, especially in Texas. We know Hispanic families, whether you like it or not, MAGA, they boost your economy.
Okay, so I'm going to cut him off here because he just essentially restates the same thing, where he believes that if you were going to go to the fair, you don't care about the prices. It's because Hispanic families are scared of, being deported by ICE, and they're also a huge economic portion of Texas. When I looked into this, according to Google and other news reports, there's no confirmation that ICE was being planned at, showing up at the fair at all. Again, the fear is completely real. We see videos all the time, and even the White House Instagram or social media posts about people being taken by ICE or, deported and stuff like that. So I do understand that is a huge fear. But I do think, though, is the actual issue that's a greater piece of the pie is the prices. He said it didn't go, like parking didn't go up that much, only $4. So you're telling me the parking was $16 and now it's 20? That's incredible. That's a huge markup. It just costs so much money. Our economy is not doing that well. I don't think we're doing that well. One of these comments here says, it costs $100 minimum. Anytime I leave the house, I'm a homebody until further notice. Puzzles, crafts, and reading are my hobbies because they are free, relatively inexpensive as well, right? Parking only went up by $4 from last year. Dude, that's a big jump. Exactly what I'm saying. It's a huge freaking jump. LOL to you thinking someone wouldn't go because parking went up by $4. I mean, I understand what he's saying. Like if someone's going to go to the fair, they're still going to go to the fair. But also, if the parking went up by $4, I would be like, so what else went up by like $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, maybe even $10? What things have been taken away? Have they done like shrinkflation as well, where they make the food items the same cost, but it's smaller portions? So anyway, the fair pricing has gotten worse. Let me show you what people are comparing this fair to.
I'm going to the state fair to try the different foods, and the short answer is probably not. And it seems very likely that I'm not the only one who's thinking the same way. I mean, if you look at recent pictures of the state fair, even on opening weekend, they had record low attendance. Any day at the state fair usually has more people than this, even on the slower days. But why is it so empty? Why are people not going to the state fair of Texas? It's supposed to be one of the greatest state fairs in the country. Well, I was born and raised in Texas and absolutely loved going to the state fair growing up, especially because in school, they literally give you a free ticket to go. But what the problem is the prices. I understand things are getting expensive, but the prices are absolutely insane. Rides for kids are anywhere from $8 to $10, maybe even more on certain rides, which if you have more than one kid, that adds up very fast. And don't even get me started on the adult rides. Apart from that, one of the main reasons people like going to the state fair is for all the fried foods, all the delicious concoctions of things that we shouldn't be eating, but those are so expensive. Paying $15, $20, $25 for a single food item is insane. My favorite item at the State Fair of Texas has always been the turkey leg. But one of these turkey legs from the spot that I like, because most of them are about 22 tickets, which is $22 because it's $1 a ticket. But from the place that I like, they're actually 25 tickets, which is $25, which is insane for a single turkey leg. And if you want decent parking, you can park outside of the park for about $10 to $20, but if you want to park within the parameters of the fair, you're going to be paying anywhere from $20 to $40. $40 for general parking, and then $20 is for if you have like a handicap or something like that. Parking plus admission, especially if you have even a small family, say you have a wife and kid like I do, you're talking about close to $100 just to get into the park. Now the State Fair of Texas does have a lot of free stuff you can enjoy, like petting zoos and shows, but at the end of the day, I'd rather save my money and take my family to several other places and enjoy tons of other foods at other places and local businesses, and I would end up probably still saving money.
So one of these comments here says, we spent less money at Disneyland than at the State Fair. $13 for corn dog is not inflation, it's being ripped off. Meanwhile, the Minnesota State Fair has record attendance this year. As someone who has gone to the State Fair so many times, Minnesota State Fair, the Great Minnesota Get Together, we do not really have these parking issues, right? You can go to the fair, you can be paying crazy prices like that from $10, $20, $30, even $40 the closer up in the neighborhood, since it's surrounded by actual, like a suburb. I have paid like $20 before with people, but like you're right there at the gate to get into the State Fair. What we do is very unique, it sounds like, where our buses actually take you to the fair for free. So we have different designated spots where you can park your car and ride on the bus. They're called park and rides, and go park your car in a free garage and then get on the bus. So now you don't have to worry about the fair traffic and you just get dropped off right in front of the gate, and that's all for free. So I don't know what Texas is doing. Maybe if they took some notes from Minnesota and implemented that into their fair, I would be shocked if they didn't get higher attendance the next year. So remember when I talked about that bailout? This is where the situation goes from bad to freaking insane.
Texas State Fair is short $2 million this year. They're already asking the city for a bailout. What did they expect? The economy is shit. People are barely able to afford life, and they charge $22 for a turkey leg. You can't eat at the State Fair for under $10, and that's something very small, something very tiny, and at times not even that good. If you really want to eat the good stuff, it's $25, $35 for one plate, and then you have to buy your tickets when you get there. You pay all this money to get in, and they're like, well, now buy your tickets, because everything that we do in here goes off those tickets, and if you don't utilize all the tickets, you lost the money. We didn't. We got paid, and they're still $2 million short. I've never been to the Texas State Fair. I was actually considering going this year. I still might go because my wife wants to see it, but I'm not going in there to drop a whole bag. But $2 million short and not telling the city to bail us out, and then who bails the city out? You got it. You got it.
Who bails out a city? We do. We bail out cities. But again, this is alleged. This is something I saw on news articles where they are $2 million short. I don't think they're actually asking the city of Dallas for an actual bailout. If they do, that's going to be wild. Just lower the price of attendance, maybe do some coupons, have actual fun events going on, do something that draws in people to the fair. If we recap what happened, there are $25 turkey legs, $22 if you don't go to the special one, $20 in admission, $20 parking ticket, $13 for a corn dog, $15 for a corn dog, $25 for a souvenir cup. And then the vendors are kind of screwed too because they're not making any money at all, right? Because when you get the tickets, you're paying the fare for the tickets, and then those tickets go back to the vendor. So the vendors aren't getting a split of that pot, right? So yeah, and then I didn't even think about you can't even utilize all of your tickets. Maybe someone comment below if you can refund your ticket back to the booth, but I don't think that's how this country operates. So there's that. Anyway, so I was talking about the Minnesota State Fair because that, again, I think is the second largest. Texas is the biggest, but Minnesota is the best. Let's see how Minnesota did for their state fair.
Well, the stats are in. The Minnesota State Fair just wrapped up with just under 1.94 million visitors in 2025. A slight increase from last year, but still far from the record of 2.1 million set back in 2019. What's different? This year saw consistent crowds every single day, never dipping below 110,000 people compared to last year's big highs and lows. The weather was near perfect, but rising costs may have kept the numbers from exploding. Fair prices jumped almost 8% this year, with tickets to get in up more than 11%. That can add up fast for families. So steady growth, but no records this time.
Do we really sound like that? He said what it costs. Minnesotan. You're probably like, yeah, you've been sounding like this the whole time. The whole time? The whole time? But anyway, so 1.94 million people showed up for the Minnesota State Fair. So if you don't know, the State Fair only runs for like a long week. So to compare that to the Texas State Fair, right? 1.94 million visitors. And that's over a period of 12 days. Well, the Texas State Fair runs for double the time, so 24 days, and typically has around 2.4 to 2.5 million visitors. Just based off of those numbers alone, which fair do you really think is probably the better fair? It's always been called the Great Minnesota Get Together because that's the one time all the Minnesotans from every pocket of the land come down and gather and eat fried food, fair food. But I'm kind of shocked. I thought the Texas Fair would have double the attendance than we did because our fair goes on for a lot shorter of a time. I think this creator breaks everything down perfectly as to why people think that the Texas State Fair is faring worse this year.
To the Texas State Fair this year. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because we're all flat broke and terrified of getting snatched up by Trump's Gestapo mid-corn dog bite. There's something that the fascist millionaire-billionaire class is having a really difficult time understanding right now. When you take everyone's expendable income away, and then you make them all terrified to leave the house, they're not going to buy your shit. Who's going to buy your shit when they don't want to leave their house and they have no money to spend? In the state of Texas, no less. Who in charge of running that state fair thought at any point that this was going to be a bang-up year for attendance? No one's showing up because they know that there's going to be squads of ICE and HSI sitting outside or inside the gates of the freaking fair, and it's unaffordable. We went to the fair, there were people there. Listen, let's not play like it isn't shoulder to shoulder crazy in there most years, okay? People are not going out and doing what they're normally doing. And these people that run the show, these millionaires and billionaires that run the show in this country are going to find out really fucking fast. We have no money and we've got nowhere to go where we feel safe. This is what y'all wanted, right? This is what they wanted.
So she brings up good points that we already listened to, but then on the text on the screen, talking about other types of violence like political violence, mass violence, I think that's another thing to be afraid of. The Minnesota Fair typically has some gun-related issue that occurs, typically at night, and it's because of children, but it does happen once a year. It's a scary time to go outside. A lot of people just don't want to spend the money or get attacked, or, preferably none of those things happen, right? And then, you enjoy the fair, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while. But the economic state in the world. Can we talk about the economic state in the world? I'm going to end with the video just comparing what the fair used to look like and being packed at its full capacity to what it is now. if I saw those pictures, like this juxtaposition of 2022 to today is insane. Because I would think, why are you going to the fairgrounds after hours or like outside of the season? That's real footage that this creator took. Again, I think this comment just sums it up perfectly. Corn dog, $14. Turkey leg, $22. $24 to get in, $30 parking. Greed. I think that sums it up. So I'm just going to say my final take on this. I'm not mad at the Texas State Fair for charging what they're most likely worth. All fairs are charging crazy prices. Inflation exists and costs go up. I do understand. It's just with how the state of the world actually is and people getting laid off, scared of leaving their homes, it's the worst time to keep increasing the prices. So I hope that for next year, there's something that's implemented so that people who want to go to the fair are able to go and not scared of spending $100 just upon entry to the fair. And then all that to say, would you go to the Texas State Fair? Did you ever want to go to the Texas State Fair? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.